What's up, business heroes? I recently received a question from Flyboy Drummer asking how far in advance do you need to start this process, referring to applying for health insurance, in order to have it accepted and in place by a certain date. Great question, and thank you for the opportunity for me to talk a little bit more about health insurance. Now, I have videos on here talking about different health coverage options, and I made a video walking you through step by step how to apply for health insurance. But now let's talk about when you need to apply for health insurance. Every year, there is an open enrollment period during which anybody can enter the marketplace and buy a new health insurance plan or make changes to their existing coverage. This begins on November 1st and goes until December 15th. Although most states have extended the deadline to January 15th or even later. This varies state by state. December 15th is the deadline to get coverage that begins on January 1st of the next year. If you apply for coverage after December 15th, but before January 15th, your coverage won't go into effect until February 1st. So to make sure there's no lapse in coverage, I recommend getting into the marketplace as early as possible. But there are a few qualifying life events that allow people to go into the marketplace anytime during the year. For instance, if you got married or had a kid or you moved or there's changes to your employment status that result in you losing your coverage, you can shop for health insurance whenever that happens. So if you get laid off or you quit your job voluntarily, you have 60 days after your last day of employment to go shopping on the health insurance exchange. But don't wait too long because your new plan won't go into effect until the first day of the next month. In many cases, your employer-sponsored coverage will extend all the way up to the last day of the month, so there shouldn't be much of a gap in coverage, but sometimes coverage will end immediately, and there might be a little bit of a gap there. Now, you have some options if that's the case. There's COBRA, which stands for Consolidated Omnibus Botanical Radish Association, or something like that. And that allows you to extend your employer-sponsored coverage for 18 to 36 months, but it's expensive. You have to pay the full amount of the premium and then some. I think it's like 102% of the premium. But if you have an expensive ongoing medical issue and you absolutely need coverage until you can get something else lined up, it might be worth it to apply for that. But in most cases, the coverage gap should be minimal. If you're in control of the situation, you're quitting your job and you get to choose when your last day of work is, I would do my best to push it to the end of the month, especially if your company's policy is to terminate health insurance coverage on the last day of employment. Now, regarding how long it takes to apply and be accepted for a new insurance plan, I personally don't remember it taking long at all, at least not long enough for it to register as taking a long time. It might have actually been same-day turnaround. But to be clear, there's two elements of applying for health insurance on the exchange. One is to register for the exchange itself, where you provide a little information about yourself, your family, your income, your age, and that's going to be used to calculate what sort of subsidy, what sort of tax credit you are eligible for, and bring the cost of the plans down. And then once you're let in the door of the marketplace, you can pretty much shop as you would on any other sort of online marketplace. You find the plan that suits you best, and you add it to your cart and check out. It might take a day or two for things to get processed and you receive your official confirmation that you are signed up for that plan. But bear in mind, the plan itself won't go into effect until the first day of the next month at the earliest. If you apply before the 15th of the month, then it will go into effect the first day of the following month. If you apply after the 15th of the month, it might not go into effect until the next month. So right now I'm recording this December 29th. If I were to apply for a health insurance plan, it wouldn't go into effect until February 1st. But there are exceptions to that rule, especially if you were losing health insurance because you are losing your job. I believe health insurance companies have to start coverage for you the first day of the following month, regardless of when you apply. But this is a great opportunity for me to clarify that I'm hilariously unqualified to speak to this topic at all. I do web design and digital marketing. I am not a health insurance broker. So please do your own research and don't hesitate to reach out to a health insurance expert. There are health insurance brokers that help connect you with the best plan for yourself, your financial situation, your health situation. This is just for educational purposes only. I am doing my best in good faith to present what I have learned in an approachable and winsome way. That's all I can do for you. But before we bounce, Flyboy had a second question that I can speak to. Do you apply to more than one plan at a time in case one doesn't accept you, or do you have to decide ahead of time on only one to apply to? If you are shopping on the exchange, I don't believe that you can be denied coverage. That's the whole point of the exchange and the Affordable Care Act, is to make sure that people with pre-existing conditions have access to health insurance. So I don't believe there's any case where an insurance provider who's selling a plan through the exchange could deny you coverage. It might be a different case if you're purchasing a plan directly with the insurance provider or if you're shopping for an insurance alternative. Some of them don't cover pre-existing conditions and have other restrictions on what they cover and who they accept into their plan. But if you're shopping on the exchange, you don't need to apply for multiple plans. You want to apply for the exchange itself and get an idea of what sort of tax credit you are eligible for. Now, if you're shopping for insurance outside of the open enrollment period because of a qualifying life event, you had a baby, you got married, you moved, there's a change in employment status, and you lose your coverage, I believe you can just go into the marketplace, sign up, and purchase a plan, but they're going to ask that you provide certain documentation to prove your eligibility for that qualifying life event, and you'll have a certain period of time to do that. I think you need to provide a proof of termination from your old employer within 60 days of applying for your health insurance, and if you fail to do that, your new health plan will get terminated. So just make sure that you are reading all the fine print. They do a pretty good job at letting you know what sort of documents you need to provide. And these portals, whether it's healthcare.gov or Penny or your state's exchange, should have a place where you can upload these documents or an email that you can send them to. Again, please consult an expert or a health insurance broker if you have any specific questions. I'm just here to prime the pump, point you in the right direction, and demystify some of this. I know it's kind of intimidating to go shopping for insurance, and personally for me, it was so intimidating that I didn't. I kind of stayed where I was. I wanted to leave my job earlier than I did, but this whole insurance issue really was a hang-up for me, and I didn't know where to even begin. So hopefully you find these resources helpful so you can begin. But again, don't hesitate to reach out to health insurance brokers. Some of these exchanges have hotlines and resources that you can tap into that'll help you find the best plan for you. So that's it for me for 2024. Happy New Year to y'all, and best wishes on your self-employment journey.